I mentioned in my last vlog that I can't really be devotional in religious practice. It just doesn't come naturally to me. I wish I were more religious, to genuinely have a reverential, a deferential attitude towards God, but I just don't. Until things get really bad, kind of like they are right now. Now is where you're more likely to find me praying to God. But I'd have to admit, I'm not very religious. I don't subscribe to one set of religious myths, and I don't regularly participate in organized religious worship or practices. I was raised Catholic, and I do have an affinity for Christianity. I mean, I sometimes wear this cross. And I've used Christian statues on my meditation altar. I like the Christian iconography and myths. Maybe I unknowingly crave it and need those religious stories. But intellectually, I'm more drawn to the reasoning of Advaita Vedanta and metaphysical idealism. Even though I can't consider myself religious, I do consider myself to be very spiritual. So what's the difference between religion and spirituality? What all religious and spiritual traditions seem to have in common is a belief in a greater reality beyond the physical, beyond what can be perceived. But the difference is that the world religions are mainly concerned with a belief in an afterlife, a transcendent reality beyond the lives of these physical bodies, heaven, hell, reincarnation, etc. Whereas spirituality is mainly about experiencing this transcendent reality here and now, while in these physical bodies, to manifest the divinity within, as Swami Vivekananda said. But that may be a bit of an unfair distinction. Religions may also help achieve this same goal of transcendence. They may be like the proverbial finger pointing to the moon, indicating the way to transcendent truth. They provide a set of practices, stories, and beliefs to help experience these transcendent truths directly. It's just, which one should I follow? There are so many varied and seemingly conflicting and divisive ones. As Sri Ramakrishna said, as many faiths, so many paths. But he advocated for the harmony of religions, because as Vedanta teaches, truth is one. Sages call it by different names. Perhaps all religions that took hold and resonated so much with humanity did so because they expressed fundamental truths in a certain way. Different shadowed shapes of the same cylinder, as Bernardo Kastrup says. I like that analogy he uses. In his book, More Than Allegory, Bernardo Kastrup writes that a transcendent truth is to our intellect like a solid cylinder is to its shadows. Shining a light on the cylinder's side would produce a square shadow, and shining a light on its top will project a circular shadow. But both are equally valid, conveying true information about the cylinder. He propounds that the symbolism of different, seemingly contradictory religious myths are the shadows of transcendent truths. In the book, he defines religious myth as a symbolic story that brings transcendence into everyday life. He writes, a religious myth can bring transcendence into daily life in an abiding manner. It can infuse ordinary aspects of life with enchantment and timeless significance, thereby saving the human animal from existential despair. He writes further, accidents and coincidences become invested with hidden purposes. Our actions in the world acquire the importance of a cosmic mission. Our suffering becomes a carrier of critical insights. So maybe religion is exactly what I need to further my spirituality, because I understand what Advaita Vedanta or the non-dual philosophy suggests that there's a single ultimate reality that we all are and that everything is. There's only that infinite reality, or God's being. But I don't take comfort in that knowing when I'm lost in my ordinary thoughts of struggling in this life as an individual. I can get to that place of knowing in meditation or self-inquiry, but I don't stay there. I just can't, using Bernardo's words, bring transcendence into daily life in an abiding manner. In the book, Bernardo explains how what drives human life is to transcend our ordinary condition and realize an eternal significance. We're limited in these apparent human forms, and yet we attribute so much importance to it. We forget our true nature, infinite being, and that's where religion can fit in, to remind us of the infinite, of the eternal. I mean, if I can't honestly feel it of myself right now, of my being as unlimited, my consciousness as unbounded, and my happiness as unending, that's where religious stories can help. God, heaven, miracles, avatars, and saints, all this can help make the transcendent truth a living reality for us. That's if we really take it to heart. As Bernardo writes, there's no better description of a transcendent truth than the religious myth that resonates with your heart. He suggests allowing our religious myths to inform our emotional lives, not our intellectual lives, as if they were literally true. For me, though, it has to break through my thick head and survive the scrutiny of my critical and literal thinking. It has to reach my heart. And I'm not sure if I can get there right now, but this religious approach may be exactly the type of spirituality I need. Like and comment if this resonated with you, and subscribe below to follow me on my journey. See you next time.